Roxo Media House.
Jeff Wilson started covering the Texas Rangers in 2008, though he'll never forget 2021. Out on his own, he decided it was time to do a podcast, but his wheels were spinning until a nerd came along. There's no going back now. Welcome to the Texas Rangers Baseball Podcast. Here's your host, Jeff Wilson, and the recliner nerd himself, John Moore.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Today Baseball Podcast. This is episode number 44. 44, can you believe
Jesus.
it? We're close to 50. We're already getting there, and we're doing one a week. We've maybe taken 1 week off or two in this whole time.
Two, I think.
And today, number 44, Senior Director of Amateur Scouting, Kip Fagg. He was just in charge of the draft that just happened. We're going to have Kip on here in just a little bit. This one is a coup that we got him on here right after that.
Yeah, God bless them. You know, these guys work so hard, and they've been going at it for a good 2-3 weeks, like meeting. That doesn't include all the traveling that they did and you know, going back years, honestly, on these guys. You know, when they talked about, I mean, we'll just not bury the lead. They drafted Kumar, third overall. Yes. There he is, a good-looking fella.
It's a Texas Ranger, guys. That is a Texas Ranger.
Anyway, you know, when they talked about the pick, they've known him for years.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this guy was selected in the first round 3 times. And
actually, 38th round.
Well,
but he was supposed to be one of the top
But, I mean,
picks
they count that kind of as a first round.
He was first-round talent. Yep.
Yeah. So, anyway, so they've known him since high school. And they know the family, and they know, you know, the kind of teammate it is, and the kind of competitor that he is, and obviously the stuff and everything. And it all goes into one package. I tell you what, I mean, they kind of, you know, blew up the draft when they did that. I mean, I don't think most people, nobody really saw it coming. You know, he was so good entering last year. He was the number 1 prospect in the draft, and then of course he had the arm injuries and the concerns about that. And, anyway, for the Rangers to take him, you know, I don't know if they would have taken Jackson Holliday or Drew Jones if they had been at 3, but they weren't, and so maybe this is just the way they wanted to go. But also,
that's what I was going to say.
But also, when you think about it, you know, they knew that they were going to save money on a rocker deal.
Right.
You know, the slot was 7'5", 7'6". He's reportedly in the ballpark of 5'2". So that would enable them, in theory, to do things later in the draft. They didn't have the second rounder or the third rounder, but there often are guys who have said they're strong college commits or whatever.
Right.
But if you can throw some money in their face, change minds real quick. So,
yes.
and then it turns out that because of that signing that they're able to get Brock Porter in the 4th round, a guy who
a first-round talent.
Right. Not just first round.
He
like,
was the top of the...
yeah, I mean, you know, top 10, top 15 pick here. And he fell. It looked like he would go to college then once he fell through the draft. But here are the Rangers sitting. His slot is $560,000 at pick 109. And the Rangers they can offer him three or more.
Yep. So
$3 million or more, not 300,000 or $3 million or more. So
absolutely.
I would suspect that these deals get done. You know, I'm you know, it sounds like Rocker is just need to get the physical and
absolutely
and cross off all the check marks there. You know, the Rangers intend to sign all their first and second day draft picks.
Right.
It might be a little harder on the third day guys, but you know, you never know what you're going to do. But yeah, you seldom sign a full draft class. I think last year the Rangers might have signed, maybe they didn't sign 4 or 5.
Right.
But
when you get towards especially 10 round and
sure,
beyond. Yeah.
Sure. But and they need to sign the top
first 10. Yeah.
Because if they don't, they forfeit the slot money,
and
that's a problem if they're trying to sign Porter for as much money as possible.
My guess is that they knew those guys.
Sure.
In the top 10 when they took it. And I'll tell you right now, it's set up perfect. My guess is they probably did have Holliday or Drew Jones on their list, and that was the top of the draft. Clearly unbelievable talented guys. Those 2 were gone, and let's be honest, everyone after that, while talented guys that were there, they weren't as well thought of as those 2. And then maybe Kumar, you've gone out and you've seen Kumar pitch. He's hitting 98, 99, and you're looking at that and thinking, I can get him under slot. Probably been on the phone with Boris talking about it. He's got an advisor that he's actually with now. It's an easy choice. They probably didn't know if they were going to be. I mean, I think everyone thought that they might fall off, but then he's there. It's easy. And yes, the Brock Porter thing is amazing, but in their mind, they're probably thinking there's some of these guys that we could throw $1 million at and get them to forego college. And we can do that twice now because they saved $2.3 million.
Yeah.
We can get a couple of guys later in these rounds that maybe slid off because they didn't go as high as they wanted. But look who falls in their lap. Guys, I don't think you realize this. Brock Porter was higher rated than Cole Winn coming out of high school, who was taken 15th overall. Brock Porter was ranked higher than him. He was also ranked higher than Cole Reagans, who was taken out of high school. And you see what he's doing right now.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean Brock Porter ends up doing anything close to what they're doing. But I've seen video of this guy, 100 miles an hour. His stuff is nasty. He was in that perfect game. They were showing some of his tape that I watched on there. In fact, I took one and linked it to Rangers Today Twitter. On there. It wasn't one of our YouTube things, but it was theirs. It is amazing to watch that kid. He's got some stuff.
Well, you just kind of look at the numbers. All right, he went 9-0 this year in high school. 0.41 ERA. He threw 3 no-hitters. And he's not from a baseball hotbed, Michigan.
Absolutely.
But it just sounds like guys like this don't come along very often. And, he's got to develop and he's got to actually make it to the major leagues. But the Rangers have added 2 incredible arms in amateur scouting circles to their farm system, assuming everything gets signed. And, I mean, just, what's that going to do to the farm system? This is probably a top 3 farm system right now with one of those guys. With both of them, it could be even higher than that. You're looking at maybe, and this is, if they had 6
in the top
100 entering the draft, they just drafted 2.
Yes.
And some guys are going to get pushed out. There's no question. With all this influx of talent,
Owen White's
some of those 6 are going to
something like that.
Maybe get pushed out. But there's a chance for 8. I mean, it's crazy how far the system's come in 2.5 years. And now you can do a lot of things. You can supplement the big league roster. You can make trades to supplement the big league roster. So
for some real talented guys.
Yeah.
And not even, and in some cases, not even have to go to the top of your prospects. You can dip down lower for some really talented guys. Juan Soto, we'll talk about that in a minute. That's a whole different story. I don't think that's going to happen. But, man, you said 6 guys could be in the top 100 right now, even if someone falls out. You could have 6 or 7. You could have 5 teetering around 110 and up that are teetering right there, ready to jump in. I mean, this is I've followed the Rangers all these years. I don't know this much talent. Maybe when Profar was there, they were pretty talented when they hit those World Series years. They had a pretty stout.
They had a good farm system.
They had a good farm system. Was it this talent? Didn't have this much pitching.
No, I don't think so. And then maybe that's a warning that era because we know what happened to Jurickson Profar. He's a nice major league player, but he dealt with injuries. He didn't become a superstar. Guys like Michael Maine.
Yep.
Blake Bevan, both of whom were traded,
right?
But they didn't do much in their careers. Julio Bourbon, one of our favorite guys ever. Just love the guy, but he's not in baseball anymore. Tommy Hunter, he's still around as a reliever,
right?
So Chris Davis is one of those guys, and he obviously had a good career that petered out, but you never know.
No.
And rankings are like, I say this a lot. It's like recruiting, college football recruiting. These classes can be rated, but you never know what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
But we're seeing some guys now who have Josh Smith, Ezekiel Duran, who have come into the major leagues and performed well. Guys like that. So there's a chance.
Well, I saw this too. So let's think about your first 4 rounds for the Texas Rangers, and let's be honest. You got Kumar Rocker, Corey Seager, Marcus Simeon, and then you go to Brock Porter.
Sure, I mean
that's exactly what it is.
That's definitely one way to look at it. And I talked to Kip a couple times before the draft, and he even said it. We're not going to get better players than Marcus Simeon and Corey Seager in the 2nd and 3rd rounds, and that's the truth.
That's the truth.
You like to get those picks, those young guys, and make you excited, but Corey Seager and Marcus Semien are pretty exciting.
Yep.
Especially the last 2 months.
Yep.
April and May, maybe not, but the last couple months they've been good.
We got a lot of years for them to get
exactly.
comfortable. Okay, guys, look, the All-Star break, the All-Star game was last night, so we're at the break. They did not end on a good note. They lost 4 in a row. They got swept by Seattle.
Sure.
41-49 is the record heading into the second half. They go to Miami tomorrow. You're heading out to Miami tonight.
Well, yeah, assuming I make my flight. Yeah, we've got some issues there, but we'll see what happens.
Yep, they're 4-6 in their last 10, 17.5 back in the West and 7.5 back in the wild card.
Yeah.
Still plenty of games to play to do that. Still, I don't think any of us really thought they were going to be big players for the wild card, but
no,
they're acting like they are. They, in fact, said so.
Yeah, they've said it, but they got to do it. And now that Seattle has surged past them in the West, and the AL East, even Baltimore, I mean, is in better standing than the Rangers.
Baltimore's playing good.
Yeah, and then you've got in the Central, the White Sox and the Indians are decent teams. So, and you expect the White Sox to get better when they get healthier. So it's going to be an uphill fight. I think. Realistically, you can say this is not a playoff team. You could have said that before the year.
Right.
They flirted with it. It's just going to be a real tall task.
I think they do get better, but
sure,
I just think the
better.
deficit's too much.
Yeah, and it's the deficit and it's the teams in front of them.
Right.
That's the thing. You can say, oh yeah, we're only 5 games out of the wild card, but we have 9 teams in front of us. Something like that. And those teams have
to collapse or going on.
Right. So it's going to be tough. The trade deadline is now the next big thing, and you do wonder what's going to happen. The Rangers have holes in their rotation, though Glenn Otto and Spencer Howard have pitched well the last couple times. I don't think they're necessarily. You can look at them right now and say, "Oh man, these guys are keepers." These guys are in our rotation for the next 12 years.
Right.
So they're. You can upgrade pitching wise. You still have the uncertainty. Is Martin Perez going to be extended?
Right.
Will he resign if you don't extend him? So there are pitching issues that you can address at the deadline. And then you brought up Juan Soto.
I don't see it.
It
could be. I mean, they probably better positioned than anybody. But let's be honest.
It's kind of interesting. They are, and I think John Heyman proclaimed that the Rangers are the favorites to land him. And everybody will think, all right, well, Mark Teixeira, that Mark Teixeira trade. What did the Braves give up for Mark Teixeira? They gave up five prospects.
Their top 5.
Five of their very top prospects. Natali Feliz, Elvis Andrus, Matt Harrison, Jared Saltalamacchia, who was their top prospect at that time, and then Bo Jones, I think, was the 5th.
Right.
Anyway. If you look at the trades that have happened lately for these big guys, whoever they are at the deadline or even in the off season, teams are pulling off these deals. Joey Gallo, without having to get rid of their top 5 or top 10 picks, and beauty's in the eye of the beholder. When the Rangers got Smith and Duran, they were not Yankees' top 10 prospects.
No, they weren't.
They became Rangers' top 10 prospects. No, Soto is in a different world.
Yes, he is.
He's
and very young.
Yeah, and he's terrific player. A lot of control. If he's the missing piece, the Rangers do need a left fielder. I think that's perfectly clear. What does the package look like? And the Nationals will want big league help.
Yep.
They want ready-made major leaguers, guys who are in the major leagues right now. They'll want that. Okay, deal with that.
Yeah.
I think the Rangers would rather trade those guys than some of their prospects. I mean,
sure.
I cannot envision them in any way, shape, or form trading Jack Leiter. Rocker can't be traded because you got to wait till a year after the draft.
I mean,
yeah, I just can't see them doing that. They've invested a lot in these guys.
Yeah, and they're on the verge.
They've seen them develop. They're right there. And again, Juan Soto, if you trade him, you gotta sign him.
Yeah.
You can't just get rid of these prospects and be like, oh well, we tried. No, you can't try. You got to do.
Yep.
Not to sound like Yoda, but you gotta sign him. And okay, so it's going to be a massive deal, right?
Right.
And we're talking $40 million, right? I mean, because they're the problem with the Nationals is they're
15 years, 29.
Right, and Scott Boras, they've mentioned the Max Scherzer deal. Well, Max Scherzer's making $43 million right now. Okay, So what's 43 times 40 times 15 is 600, right? I can't fathom them doing that. But let's say they do.
Yeah.
Let's say for the hell of it, they give him $40 million a year. All right. So you have 3 guys on the books that are basically $100 million.
Yep.
So what are you going to do with the rest of your roster?
Yep.
And
you need a farm system
that can supplement it and save you guys some money. So I'm not saying it's going to be impossible.
No.
And I bet that they are looking at it. I mean, I guarantee you they are.
Yep.
But what, is it worth the cost? I mean, this is Juan Soto is one of the best players in baseball. His nose numbers are down this year, but you would love to have Juan Soto.
Yeah.
And
Can't argue
it's
with
just, can you pull it all off?
Yep.
And that's the thing. Maybe you can, and then maybe you think you can get 3 guys and pay them $30 million each, and you end up like the Angels. So I don't, you need to be careful, but it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, deadline's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's get Kip Fagg in here. He's going to come talk to us about the draft, some other stuff, and then after that, we'll go down in the bus leagues.
With the 3rd pick of the 2022 MLB Draft, the Texas Rangers select Kumar Rocker, a right-handed pitcher from Farragut, Tennessee. The Pittsburgh Pirates have the next selection.
Now that is a wrinkle. Kumar Rocker, selected last year by the New York Mets in the first round, did not sign. The 6'5", 245-pound right-hander who throws 100 miles an hour, selected 3rd overall by the Texas Rangers.
All right, guys, and joining us right now is the Senior Director of Amateur Scouting, Kip Fagg, and he's had a big week. Your draft has just ended. Really appreciating him joining us right now. Kip, thanks for coming on with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Are you still in Arlington, Kip?
Let me turn my volume up here.
All right.
All righty.
Are you still in Arlington?
Yeah, I'm still in Arlington. Yeah, I got a few things I got to take care of here first.
So do you get some time off now? I mean, you've been going at it for about, I don't know,
a year,
30 years.
With the pushing the draft back to July, there's probably a little less time off.
Okay.
Just because we kind of wheeling into 2023. It used to be in June, so there was a little bit of a buffer there for the next year, but it's starting to be less and less. But yeah, I'll get a few days. I don't need that much. I'll be all right.
So are you now done with the draft? I mean, do you still have to make calls to guys you drafted? Are you involved in getting them signed, or are you on to 2023?
No. I'm still. There's some things I got to tie up here, and we have medical things that we got to take care of with guys we signed. Physicals and that kind of thing, getting all that squared away, and there's some guys post 10 that we're still kind of working on here, and maybe a few that are the undrafted free agents, which with a 20 round limit, and used to be a lot more. There's some guys out there still we kind of like to sign, so I'm dealing with some advisors, et cetera, trying to bring a couple of those kids into the fold.
Gotcha. So I think at about 625 is when you guys threw a wrench in the draft, and with Kumar Rocker, and I'm not bragging about this, but I wrote that if it was my pick, I would take Rocker, and
he did.
And so you guys followed my advice, and I'm pretty honored about that. But when did that come to fruition? Because his medicals didn't come out until like early July.
Oh, wow. So I didn't know, Jeff, that you were on board. I might have thought a different way if I knew that but that's all right.
We're doomed.
No, we I mean, like I've stated before, did a lot of work with Kumar, last year, obviously with Jack and Kumar pitching together there at Vandy that year. And then coming to this year, the work we did as far as just the medical piece, I will say that we are very comfortable with where he's at and where he's going to be. And I don't want to get into, kind of how we know that, but we did a lot of work, just put it that way.
Yeah. Well, there were reports that the medicals had come out, and his advisor, quote Mark Scott Boris, came out and tried to soften the blow and explain what it was. And Kumar, for his part, didn't want to talk about it when he was talking to us, and that's fine. I think if you guys are comfortable with it, that's all that matters. But can you talk about the last time you saw him? You said you saw him pitch in Albany in independent ball. What did you see?
Well, first of all, the guy was in tremendous shape, probably his best shape I've ever seen him, and points to kind of the work he put in, gym, rehab, whatever, getting ready to go pitch for the Albany Tri-City Cats, I believe they are.
Yeah.
But what I saw was like obviously a guy that was in great shape. He's a monster, and just the traits he brings on the mound, the competitiveness, the drive he has to just go out and own the hitters, so to speak. But I mean, the delivery was better for me. The arm looked clean. The stuff was probably a tick up from what we saw towards the end of his junior year there at Vandy. Breaking stuff was like, it's always been really good, and it was probably a little even better. So, I mean, other than like maybe some of the health questions that we had answered, the stuff was probably better.
This is a big man. I mean, he's 6'5", 245, 250. I mean, anybody who's going to throw like that, it's going to look violent, I think. So how is the delivery cleaner?
Well, I mean, the bigger, stronger guys can tend to handle it a little bit more just because of their body frame, et cetera. So, there's some effort. There's a lot. You watch guys on TV. There's guys that do it on TV. They got effort. So
Sure.
I don't think it's any more or less than a lot of guys that are doing it on TV with success. So, I don't know. I'm not too worried about it. He's a big physical kid who's thrown a ton of innings, here,
Right.
Through his college career. And we feel like this guy's going to be like like a frontline kind of guy for us moving forward. That's going to be able to take the ball and handle the workload.
All right. So you guys didn't have a second and third rounder. And then on day two, it took about, 30 minutes until you threw the draft another curveball by selecting Brock Porter. The Michigan kid who had fallen through the draft, very talented.
100 miles an hour.
I guess so.
Yeah. Seen some tape on him.
How was he when you guys talked to him? Because I'm sure he had a real tough Sunday night.
Yeah, obviously, if you read all, the prognosticators saying he's going to win the top 15, top 10, whatever, one you read, obviously not getting taken there. And then, thinking he's going to school, and then, coming to find out that he's going to be selected by the Texas Rangers and playing for the Rangers, a little bit of a whirlwind for him, so to speak, him and his family.
Yeah.
But, we were just very excited that this thing worked out for us.
Talk about him as a pitcher. I mean, the numbers his senior year are ridiculous, like 0.41 ERA, 3 no-hitters. What do you see when he's on the mound?
Yeah. I mean, I saw him. I don't know. I saw him a ton in the past. His sophomore and junior year, I saw him a bunch also. It's just a big physical kid with a really good arm and a really good changeup and a really good breaking ball. I mean, it's a high school kid, so. Obviously there's some development left there, but I mean, all the makings of like a frontier type of pitcher, I mean, he has to be developed. And I mean, the kid, the family are like, it's an outstanding family, outstanding kid, works hard, loves baseball, a lot of things that we, garner from the makeup end, excuse me. And as far as just the ability, it's like, you don't get chances to get these kind of arms. I mean, I didn't have any idea or any thought that we were going to be a player in this. And obviously you pick 3 and you don't pick till, the 4th round, pick 109. And there's certain players that we deem as like tweeners, and he being like a high on that board. And when we had the opportunity to select him, it was like, it was almost like, in La La Land, because you didn't think there's any chance of that going in.
Yeah, I mean, you guys got arguably the 2 best pitchers in the draft. I mean, that's and to do
not much argument there. I think
to do it.
Yeah, I mean,
the way you guys
time
did
will
it's
tell. I
remarkable.
mean, they're still amateurs, and they have neither of them have thrown a pro pitch. So,
Right.
we feel like that. Once we, obviously taking them and bring them in to be Rangers, we think that too. But I mean, there's development left with both of them, but we think that the makings of like 2 like monsters, so to speak.
Sure. And then I thought 5, 6, and 7 were pretty good picks, especially the kid from Long Beach in the 7th round, Ramirez, and then there was one pick that caught my eye that I didn't ask you about yesterday. Is your 14th round pick, Andrew Owen, who pitched at Baylor, then transferred to a JC in California and did not pitch this season. What's his story?
Well, I have a lot of history with Andrew also. Saw him as a high school kid. He was on the big circuit, when he was a high school senior. It's a big physical kid. Another guy that's touched 100 in the past. He went to Baylor. I don't want to get into the situation why he only pitched very little there and end up leaving and going to junior college. But, obviously he was at Baylor for a year, did not pitch, went to junior college, and he had Tommy John.
Okay.
And that's the reason he did not pitch. And so he's almost through his recovery. He should be ready for spring training in 2023. It's just a big physical kid, very athletic with a very loose arm and a big power arm. So, sometimes you have to take chances sometimes. And a lot of it's, especially on the pitcher end, some of it's health related too. And, with the percentages of guys coming back from Tommy John and coming back almost healthier and better than they were prior to the surgery, it's not that big of a risk as it was at one time to select those guys. But, we feel like, we got a steal here in the 14th round.
Yeah. And you just brought up a point. This isn't your first rodeo drafting a guy like that. And it's not a bad thing. Like John King comes to mind, and I mean, just get it out of the way and then you can get your rehab hands on them and bring them back your way. So
I'll tell you a story. Even I can't remember what year this was, but it was a year I took Dylan Tate, which is a bad pick. It was a really bad pick. But I mean, I love Dylan, but looking back at that, it's like decisions you make, and there was a reason for it and all that. But that being said, is like I had Walker Buehler like way up there. Mm-hmm. And I probably, looking back, Walker Buehler had a hurt arm at the time.
Right.
And it was Tommy John. He hurt it during the year, and he pitched part of the year or most of the year. Then he had Tommy John right before the draft. And I thought he was one of the more talented guys, but the Tommy John domed me out, and we let him go. Dodgers took him like in the 20s, and, rest is history. So, I learned some things from that.
Sure. Just looking at the overall class, you guys made 18 picks, and you guys covered, I've got 10 states down, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't think people understand how much amateur scouts have on their plate. Can you? And I know we're just probably skimming the surface here, but how hard of a job is this?
Well, the hard part's not watching the games. That's the easy part. I watch baseball games for a living and get paid for it. Get paid pretty good. So, that piece of it's it's just getting one place or another. You have no idea what these guys do. It's crazy. If I would tell you some of the stories about some of my traveling over the years, people were like, no, you didn't do that. Yeah, I did. So, I looked the other day, and my wife found out about this the other day, and I probably should never showed her, but I have like 4,800 nights in a Marriott through my life.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
almost like 15 years in a hotel.
Holy crap.
Right. So, and that's just counting Marriotts. I've stayed in a lot of Hiltons too. So, it's like ridiculous the sacrifices, first of all, these guys make. Believe me, my wife raised my kids, and I was on the road. I'm on the road 200 plus nights a year. Yeah. And that hasn't changed in 30 years. So, the first part of my career, I got more time at home because I was an area guy. But once I started cross-checking and that, I'm not home. So that's the sacrifice these guys make. And most of our guys it's like a different lifestyle. People just don't understand that lifestyle. I'm telling you, it's crazy what we do. But you know what? There was a movie that came out, and it was about he was a basketball scout. He's the comedian. What's his name? Sandler.
Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that movie. That was pretty realistic of what guys do.
Okay. Yeah, that's actually a good.
It was
movie.
actually really good. Yeah.
But the travel.
I don't know basketball as well as I do baseball, but man, it was a lot.
But
just the point of like he's gone all the time and the family, and like you're on the road and like you're in a hotel all the time. That was pretty realistic. It's different sport, but it's pretty realistic.
All right. But then magically everybody comes together 3-4 weeks before the draft, and this is what you come up with. How do you overall wrap it up this this draft class? How do you look at it? And I know time will tell, but right now, how do you feel about it?
Oh, I feel really good. I mean, the way I always feel is like in certain drafts, you have to push guys, right? We didn't get picked one time in this draft, and this is probably one of the first drafts I can remember in a while that like you didn't sit there, and I don't want to tell specific stories of the past, but I mean, there's always somebody like you're going to take this dude, and a team takes him 2 picks ahead of you, right?
Sure.
Yeah. And usually what we do is we target guys, that we want. When there's a smaller group than people would think that we target for that we're going to be Texas Rangers. Those are the guys we're going to draft. And every one of these guys we took were targets of ours, which I can't even think of draft that came and we never got picked. So I don't know what that means. Maybe, obviously there was some difference of opinion from other teams and ours, but this has never happened to me. So that part of it, I feel really good. So like the target people we got, we didn't lose anybody I thought we were going to get, first of all. And, it just fell right. We didn't have to force anybody. Usually and we do it a lot where we put guys like in certain areas of the draft and round, so to speak. And hypothetically, like you have a guy in the 8th round, right? And you think you're going to get this a perfect pick in the 8th round. And so all the dudes that are gone in the 7th round, so you have to push that guy up to the 7th to take him, right?
Gotcha.
But this year we didn't have to do any of that. And that's kind of the first year I can remember that was the case.
So, all right. So you have a 20 round draft, 18 this year. How many targets do you have?
I don't know. Every year differs. 20 rounds. I think last year we probably had, targets. I mean, there's like really targets are probably less than 100.
Okay.
And then you expand that a little bit to cover up maybe some, if you get picked, like I just talked about, or all these guys, boards never get taken like right down the line, right? Everybody's got different opinions from different teams. So
Sure.
It never usually works that way. So you're usually pretty covered, but I'd say less than 100.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah,
That's interesting because, I mean, of all the guys that get selected. So, all right. John,
Yeah.
I know you got a couple scouting questions.
Oh, yeah, man. So this is, hey, by the way, did I hear 30 years, right? Did you just celebrate 30 years?
My 31st draft.
Oh, my God. Congratulations. So I know you start back as an amateur scout, Kip. And so I am like, look, any guy that's ever played baseball or loves baseball, their number one goal was they wanted to be a professional baseball player. That doesn't happen for 99% of us. When you go on that, making a living in baseball would be another one. Scouting's intrigued me. I'm a nerd about scouting. I love what you do and what your guys do. When you were an amateur scout, is there any
area scout? Is that what's area scout?
An area scout. Yeah, an area scout. When you were an area scout, not amateur, area. When you were an area guy, was there any guy that you ever took that you're really proud of? And I'm not talking like Rick Helling or Doug Davis, guys that I'm talking you found some undiscovered kid and he turned into something, even if it was 2 months in the big leagues, you took a guy that not really a lot of people saw and you turned them in and you got them to take him and he ended up being something.
Well, the guys that probably I'd think of were the guys you just mentioned. Doug Davis would be one. He was like a 10th or 11th rounder. So he was relatively unknown, a junior college kid that, I signed for a little bit of money. But I mean, there's been some guys that I took that for whatever reason we didn't sign. I had Jermaine Dye. I took him
wow.
I mean, that was a good story. My first year scouting there, the year I got Helling, Jermaine Dye was a high school kid. And we took him, I don't even know, 43rd round, something like that. And he went to junior college at Consumers River. He was actually a basketball player at the time. And we ended up draft and fall back then is a little different than the stuff today. And so we didn't sign him and Atlanta took him. And in my mind, they tampered with him and there were some shenanigans there. So I don't want to get into that, but that was probably the main one. The guy, I went to so I'll tell you the story. This is a crazy story. I told this before, but so that year I'm living in Vacaville, California, just small town south of Sacramento. And that was my first year. I was young. And so I went to the local watering hole that night after a game to have just refresh myself. And a guy I met a guy who was a reporter in that town and told me, I told him what I did. And he says, hey, the best baseball player in this town is not playing baseball. And I go, wow, yeah, right. And so he said, no, he's a big basketball player and, he's not going to play baseball this spring, but he's playing on like a Legion team. And this is right before the draft. And so I went home and I found the kids. These had phone books back in those days. So I went and looked up his number, called the dad. The dad was actually a backup center for Bill Russell back at USF back in the day.
Oh, wow.
And so I called the kid and he said, yeah, we're working out. So I went and watched him Legion practice, and I said, this kid was a great looking kid. And I just said, back in those days, there's a bunch of rounds. So I do a report on him, took him in, and we took him. And so, I mean, that's like I found a guy from a reporter in a bar one night. So there you go. He was a long big leaguer.
That is great. That's the stories I love. Okay, so now I'm gonna nerd out myself. Let's say that I work for you, Kip. I'm an amateur scout.
Area scout.
Area scout. I keep saying that. I need to write that word there. Okay, so I'm an area scout. Let's say I'm working the North Texas area. I know that I've got a cross checker above me, and then I've got Kip who runs it all. Let's say I'm going down to I'm down at Navarro down in Corsicana. I've gone to watch somebody. They're playing whoever, and on the other team, 6th, 7th inning, some left-hander comes out throwing 92, 93. I don't know who he is. I've never heard of him. He's smooth motion, good off-speed stuff. Who am I calling right away after I get the gun on him and do that? Who do I call first? Am I calling you?
No, you probably call you'd be calling the regional guy. Okay. Like if Damon Smith covers that area, would be the regional cross checker in that area. You would call him probably and say, obviously sometimes that does happen. Yeah. And if it's in your area, so it's a little different. If let's say let's say you're at TCU and you see Central Michigan playing TCU, and you're covering your area is TCU. So you see some guy from Central Michigan come out of the bullpen throwing 100. Yeah. And you're going, he's out of your area. So that's when you probably hit me on that. And, like, all right, then I'll get with or he'll hit the area scout. And we're all pretty close here within our group. And he'd probably hit the area scout that covers that area, which is Chris Coleus. And, Chris will go, yeah, I've seen the guy, or no, I don't know about him. I'll go see him and that kind of thing. So that's kind of how it works.
All right.
Okay. So that's how long it is. And then I guess it has to go through a couple before Kip puts his eyes on him.
I've gotten away from, I don't see everybody. I mean, like this year was a little different. Like we picked 3, and then we picked 109, right? So I spent a lot of time on that group up there at number 3. I probably, name one of those guys that went up there in the top 5. I probably saw him play 10 games.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So that's where the majority of my time is spent. I trust my guys. I got a lot of good guys that work for me, especially on the national end and the regional guys and my area. So I trust them. There's guys I don't see that I take up there pretty good. So I'm beyond having to put my check mark on all these guys.
Hey, so let me ask you this, because I know Jeff and I feel this way. We talked to a lot of the kids in the system right now. Jeff, especially watching Martin Perez. You've known since he was, 17 years old? I've met a few of these kids in AA, talked to them. You as a scout, is this as close as it can come when you watch one of these kids fulfill their lifelong dream? Is this as close as it could be like watching my son fulfill his dream? I mean, are you that close to him where you're like, this is fantastic? I mean, I know you're pulling for every one of them to be big leaguers, but I got a sense that it'd be like proud of a dad watching his kid finally make the big leagues if that were the case. Are you that way about all these guys?
Yeah, that's a pretty good analogy. I mean, it's just like you build relationships with these kids, these parents, and you see them when they're young, immature, and then you see them kind of grow up. And I mean, you can look at like Jose Trevino. I'm just proud of all get out of him. We took him, and he was a Ranger and went to the Yankees. He's an all-star. I never thought Jose Trevino would be an all-star, right. But it's just really cool to see. And I mean, Jose's like a son to me too. So, I love all these kids that we get, and it's like, it's that part of it. You get the relationships built with them, and they come up as young kids through our system, Martin being one of them. Man, I saw when he's 15 years old. And, just knowing how far he's come from that to where he's at now is like, it's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And you don't just know him like we do, like a reporter, player.
I'm having a hard time hearing you, Jeff. Sorry.
You don't just know them like we do, just a reporter to player. Like you meet their families, you meet their girlfriends. I mean, the research, how deep does it go when you're trying to figure out a guy's makeup?
You have no idea.
You talk to teachers, right?
I don't really get into all the stuff we do, but it's like that's part of our process here. If you don't know the player, you ain't getting them. Yep. I mean, that's just the bottom line. So, I mean, there's been times that we will, like, you get later in the draft, and it's a little harder now because there's only 20 rounds, but it used to be like when there was a deeper, you would take a guy you knew less, because so much so-called investment was a little less too there. Mm-hmm. But I mean, talking like now in these 20 rounds, if a guy doesn't know a player, we are not taking, period. So, I mean, that's a big part of our process, like knowing the families, knowing the kids, and making sure everything's above board. Now that's a huge part of our process. Well,
and then it becomes even more amazing, I guess, or it explains how many guys you know. When a porter does fall into your lap, you know him, and you've done the work.
So I mean, going back to kind of like how this year was set up. So like not having a second, third rounder. I mean, we could have gone like I could have picked 50 guys that I thought weren't going to get to the 109th pick, right? And Brock Porter would have been one of those guys to start the year.
Sure.
And so, but I challenged our guys. We're going to scout these guys like we normally do. I don't care. I don't want to be surprised when somebody falls in our lap. And obviously Brock Porter fell in our lap, and we did the work. We knew the kid, Chris Colis, the area guy, Brian Williams, the regional guy. They were all over this. We know the kid. We knew the family. It wasn't like something, this guy fell in the lap. We don't know anything about the kid or the family. So no, that's a big thing to point out, because you could have been like a guy falls in your lap. Oh, I don't even know who the kid is. And I could give you story after story of draft rooms I've been in where that happened, and it didn't work out because we didn't know the kid.
Yeah.
Well, you got one more?
No, I mean, it's just. I mean, we could probably keep you here for 5 hours.
Yeah, we're not going to do that.
We're not going to do that. Some of us have flights to catch.
Yeah, I got one more good one though. This is my last one, Kip, because I know you got to get out of here, and you finally are going to get a couple days off, maybe, or you got to do some work. But tell me the stories of all your years. I love these stories. You just did one about Jermaine Dye, but let's talk about the Ranger system. Tell me the stories of the guys that were discovered by accident because of seeing somebody else that turned into big leaguers. Tell me a couple of good stories of those guys.
I got one for you.
Okay.
So we used to have big workouts all the time, right? At certain areas of the country. So we had one in South Carolina. I don't even know what year this was, but some kid comes out skinny as a rail, dreads in his hair, and like a loose, fast arm. My area scout, Chris Kemp, who's now the scouting director with the Padres, was the area scout. And he found this kid in adult baseball league in some backwoods of South Carolina. So he shows up, throws. It was like really good. I mean, loose arm. I mean, he could spin the ball the whole bit. So we take this kid. I can't remember around. It was late 30s. I don't know, 30. Then it was a draft and fall. We end up signing him, and he develops in our system and pitches a big. It's CJ Edwards.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I liked him.
And so CJ ends up, he pitched for us. He went to the Cubs. I think I don't even know where he's at right now. I think he's still in the big league or somewhere.
He's still in the big league.
Yeah, he's still pitching the
Twins?
But that,
he was just in town.
I mean,
he was just in town.
Nobody. He didn't pitch in a high school team. He was in some adult league.
Oh wow.
And it was like, and the kid was from a very poor family, the whole bit. But it was like, it's a really good story how this kid, he came in and he's still like, we always thought he'd fill out, but he's always remained skinny. It's kind of weird, but it was a good arm, and he could really spin the ball. So we took a chance on him and signed him, and it turned out pretty good for CJ.
Yeah, real good.
That's it.
I guess it's Carl now. He calls himself Carl.
He does go by Carl. Correct.
But I remember when he was climbing up and the numbers he was putting up, coming up through Hickory and all of that. It was fantastic. Well, Kip, hey, this has been fantastic. And I know that you've had a busy week, and the fact that you took time to sit down with us just for a little bit, we can't tell you how much we appreciate that.
Yeah, really. I owe you a beer if
I always like talking baseball. It's all good, man. And I'll get some days off here this weekend, so I'm kind of excited for that. But I appreciate you guys asking the good questions.
All right. Well,
absolutely.
Thanks for taking the time. Have some good days, and I guess we'll see you when these guys start signing.
Absolutely. All right,
Kip. Thanks, man.
Senior Director of Amateur Scouting, Kip Fagg. And when we come back after this, we're going to go down in the bus leagues, talk about the minor leagues.
Roxo Media House is a streaming and production company located in Fort Worth, Texas. From video to podcast production and social media broadcasting, Roxo Media House strives to deliver a dynamic media experience for clients and fans. With 15 shows, we have something for the whole family. Join the Roxo Media community today.
All right, that was a big thanks to Senior Director of Amateur Scouting, Kip Fagg. Kip, I can't believe he came on with us right after that.
Yeah,
really appreciate it.
That's pretty darn nice.
Good pull for you there to get him in. We do have to go down in the bus leagues. By the way, do give you credit. I put out a little thing about the top 9 guys that were going to be on there.
Yeah.
I said that I would have taken Brooks Lee. That's who I like. But we said it. We told Kip that. You did say Kumar Rocker.
I said I would take him. Yeah. Yes. I mean, I thought the Rangers would end up with Jackson Holiday. I didn't know if they had the balls to pull off the Rocker
I predicted Jackson Holiday, but I wanted Brooks Lee. But, man, you had it.
Yeah, I didn't know if they would do it. But, by gosh, they did. And there he is.
Yeah, there he is. There's Jack. Look at these two Vandy boys that are now in this system. Listen, the minor league players are on break right now, so they're not playing. But let's just kind of go where they ended up under that first half. Down east, 45-41. They were 6-4 in their last 10, and they've lost one game.
Okay.
Any big names there? I mean, nobody's playing.
No,
now.
but look, now that we're into the second half, kind of got to watch their roster because there could be some guys who are in the Arizona Complex League
They're
who
going to start jumping up.
Who end up, and it's been happening. If you've been checking the box scores, you'll be like, hey, wasn't he just in Arizona? And yes, he was.
Yes.
So that's going to be happening with their roster, but and they're going to have to someplace to go, so the people who are there are going to get moved up the ladder. And we've had Mitch Bratt on here a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
And he's just dominating. I mean, it just seems like this isn't much of a challenge for him. So I wouldn't be surprised if, even though he's only 19, he ends up
maybe late start
at Hickory. Yeah,
make a couple of late starts in the
Sure,
season to do
sure.
that. Go to Hickory, they're a high A team. Hickory's at the break, 47-40 overall, 4-6 in their last 10. They've won a couple of games. We got the same guys there we talk about.
Yeah,
Carter, Acuna. Some of these guys are going to have to get promoted.
Yeah, they were struggling a little bit there, right to start the second half of their season. I mean,
Right.
This is, I guess more specifically, we should call this minor leagues at the break,
Yeah.
or whatever. But sure, they're good. I mean, they're talented guys. They're Larson Kindrich has been very good. He threw
Yes.
a no-hitter.
Right.
Mason Englert's still doing really well. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a promotion to Frisco, which would be great because he's from Forney and
Right.
it'd be good for him.
Local. Hell of a lot of family out
pitch
there.
in front of the hometown folks. But that's a talented team. I know they've lost some guys, Owen White and Mark Church, but talented team.
Yep. And Frisco, of course, where Owen White ended up. Speaking of Frisco, two guys that played in the Futures game
Yeah.
and did well.
Sure. Leiter. There he is.
Yep.
Perfect inning. I think it was 2 groundouts and a flyout. Impressed some of the TV folk with his stuff. His velocity was 96.
Right.
Broke off a couple nice sliders in there. He's we say it every time. He's
nobody's concerned about his ERA.
His ERA
right
is
now.
over 6, and nobody's going to be too worried about that. I wonder if where Rocker will end up if he does pitch.
It surprised
after
me if
being
he
drafted.
doesn't. He doesn't.
Well, he wants to pitch, and they all go to Arizona and have a mini camp and probably work out, and he don't know what he's been doing. Really how ready he is
He
to pitch.
does look like he's in shape, though.
Yeah,
You see those Vanderbilt videos, and you look at that video from Tri-City. Is that what it was called?
Albany. Something.
He looks thinner and leaner.
Okay. Yeah.
So I mean, that is
Well, and his last start was earlier this month. So
Right.
so he's actually probably in better shape than these college kids that were drafted whose seasons ended more than a month ago. So maybe Frisco. I don't know. I don't know if you want to be that aggressive with him.
he's a year older than Jack.
He's older and but you got to protect the investment. And,
Absolutely.
But Frisco, if they thought Leiter could handle Frisco, I'm assuming they think Rocker could handle Frisco. So I don't know. Maybe later in the year you get the chance
Justin
to see.
Harris, 2 for 3 with
Yeah.
an RBI single. Did great.
Stole a base. He does it all.
He
That guy
does it all.
Yeah.
That guy's good. 14 home runs first half of the year, too.
Yeah.
So he's on pace to hit 28 to 30 home runs. By the way, Frisco's 45-42, 8-2 in their last 10, and they've won 2. Round Rock, AAA. This is the guys that are right on the verge also. 47-43, 4-6 in their last 10. They've won 2. Really, it's guys that we've seen in the big leagues that have gone back down. That's who you're kind of watching.
Sure.
Huff, who we just had on, back down at AAA.
I'm so you still got to watch for you still got to watch Cole Winn and Cole Reagan's the other Cole, especially since I think they're both Rule 5 eligible.
Sure.
So you might as well put them both on that.
Yeah.
They have to earn it. And maybe I don't know. I don't want to get into psychology here, but there is a thing and something, and it's been proven over and over again that there are guys who get bored at their level.
Yeah.
And you saw it with Delino DeShields when in Double A he came up and after the Rule 5 draft and was terrific at that rookie year. A lot of people thought Leody Taveras might have been getting bored at earlier in his career.
He's performing well.
So you never know what's going through a guy's mind. I'm sure he's struggling a little bit trying to figure it out, trying to trying to make himself a more viable option in the rotation. And maybe it's just as simple as saying, just come on up and do it.
Yep.
You know, and see, maybe
look, there's open spots on the big league team for these guys.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not saying it would happen right now. But
no, they're going to have to get past this deadline and see what's happening.
Late in the year, it could happen.
Absolutely. Well, guys, that I mean, look, down in the bus leagues is going to start getting very intriguing. We've got some great players that are about to start making some moves, and this is the best minor league coverage there is.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. You know, RangersToday.com, $60 for a year, $5.99 for a month. If you want to just give us 6 months, what is it, $35?
You
know,
hit the subscribe button.
Really do cover them like crazy, and you know, Rocker and the 17 other guys, you know, or whoever many they sign, are going to be coming into the system, and
Absolutely.
you're gonna want to see them too. So
some of them will play this year, some of them won't.
Yeah,
some of them will
but they'll all be at Instructs, and we'll be at Instructs too. So
yep.
So we cover the major league team, we cover the minor leagues like nobody else. We have Rangers history from TR. So it's like a bargain. $60 is such a bargain, and
it absolutely is.
So,
and
anyway.
listen, this is one place I can promise you. You guys can reach out and ask a question. We will answer it. And we will, and I'm not saying on here. We'll try to sometimes and do stuff like that. But you can on Twitter, you can DM us, do anything. I don't think I've ever missed answering a question for anybody. I know Jeff doesn't mind it, but he does a lot more than I do writing. But I will, hey, go follow the Twitter handle. It's at Rangers_podcast. At Rangers_podcast. It's the new Twitter handle for the podcast itself. All of these are going to come out through there first. So we want you to go out there and give them a follow.
And you know, we got our YouTube channel that you guys need to subscribe to if
Absolutely.
you haven't already. Because we are podcast heavy, but you know, John here shoots a lot of stuff when he's at home games. I'll get some stuff. If I make my flight, we'll see what happens. So
he's going to Miami. So
anyway, we got just good stuff. So anyway.
What a fun week. Kip Fagg, I mean, that was great to get him on. I mean, look, I didn't expect to get Kip on. I thought he would be too busy.
Yeah.
He stopped down for us. That was fantastic. But, guys, what a great coverage for this week. We'll be back again next week. We've got a guest lined up.
Yep.
He's a big leaguer. Not going to say who it is. Things happen, so we're not going to, that can happen, and we don't want y'all to think he flaked on us. But things can happen. But until next week, guys, we'll see you at the yard.
Roxo Media House.